Melee has seen one of its most exciting periods these past couple of months, to the dismay of some who thought it would struggle with the release of Ultimate. Over the course of the year, many of Melee's top talent have entered Ultimate events, but to what degree of success? As the first season of Ultimate's PGR wraps up, let's see which Melee players have the resume to make the top 50. To make things easier on ourselves, let's set some guidelines. Only players featured on the MPGR Top 100 from 2018 will be considered. Furthermore, only players who have competed in at least 3 PGR events will be analyzed. This list is in no way meant to discredit these players and their legacies. A full list of all PGR events can be found below. And one final disclaimer that Summit is not a PGR event. Going off the stats, these are the 10 players that meet the criteria. Right off the bat, it's easy to eliminate some players from this discussion just by looking at the numbers. Swedish, Hugs, and Shootout are all players who have no shot of making the rankings. These three all share a common problem of no notable wins, bad losses, and poor placings, with Hugs 49th at B tier Battle of BC, and Swedish's 33rd at the Mango being the closest any of these three have made it to top 32. La Luna is in a tier of his own, slightly above these three, mostly because of his better losses and his 49th at Genesis. Though even with these slight improvements in results, I still think La Luna has next to no chance of making the top 50. Hungrybox definitely stands out amongst the previously mentioned players thanks to his larger resume of results, though it's mostly the same story. While HBox was able to put up some decent showings like 17th at Overlords of Orlando, losing to Mute Ace and Saybreak, and a 97th at Momocon, only losing to Dark Wizzy and Tachyon, these are the only real standout, as HBox has had bad runs everywhere else with poor placings and bad losses. Though he was able to show his proficiency in Ultimate earlier in the year with his incredibly close set with Salem, HBox was not able to put up the results to be in consideration for the PGR. Rishi barely makes the cut to be considered with 3 respectable showing. Rishi has the most impressive resume so far, with mostly good losses, outplacing his seed at all but Genesis, but he again lacks any wins to justify a spot or consideration for the top 50. Now things have been pretty similar and disappointing so far, so let's get into a higher echelon of players and their results. Mewtwo is well known in the Smash community for his proficiency in many different Smash games, but for Ultimate he's taking it a bit slower. He started his year with an unfortunate showing at Genesis, getting upset by Reggie, the Mexican Game & Watch and winners, and falling victim to Mute Ace's losers run, earning 97th. A similar showing occurred at Frostbite where he underperformed his seed again, suffering another upset to Biddy and losers. Things began to look up for Mewtwo after these events where he started to earn some more solid placings with better losses, reaching 49th at both Pound and Smash and Splash, the latter netting him a win on Best Ness. At the regional Smash point, he peaked at 9th, getting a win on Goblin but taking 2 bad losses to Deluxe Menu and J-Boss. Overall, I don't think Mewtwo has the potential to be ranked top 50 for this season, but it's obvious he can rise if he's able to consistently earn his seed and collect a handful of wins, possibly to the caliber of his 2016 Smash 4 days. Plup is in a similar situation to Mewtwo, but with a much more consistent resume. He had an okay Genesis with a respectable 49th, losing to SoCal's Nico and Zenyu, but he wasn't able to pick up any good wins. A similar thing happened at Frostbite, where Plup suffered worse losses, dropping to Broccoli and Peas in winners and False in losers, again not picking up any wins on his run to 49th. Plup's results began to waver after this tournament, with a 65th at Pound getting upset by Tension, followed by his peak for the year at Gommel where he earned a nice 17th, only losing to Void twice. This finally brings us to his Smash and Splash, where Plup was finally able to put his first high-level win on the board in Pelka, but unfortunately with a bad loss to Mudomo, along with 2 other losses to Gact and James, he was only able to nab 81st place. Plup has had probably the best year of those we looked at so far, but he still remains another player that I don't think will make the top 50. Even with one more performance at CEO later this weekend, it'll take an insane run from the Floridian to be considered. Wizrobe has been one of the hottest names in Smash recently, with his signing of Team Envy and his incredible performance at Smash and Splash, where he not only won a Super Major with Captain Falcon in Melee, but also made top 8 in Ultimate. Let's not forget the multiple tournaments that led up to this performance in Ultimate for Wizzy though. Wizzy started his year in a similar way to those we previously looked at. with a pair of 65ths at S tiers Genesis 6 and Frostbite, with his loss to Fathom and Frostbite pools being the only real red flag amongst these two performances. His results would take a decline here, however, with a 129th at Prime Saga losing to AC and getting upset by Chase in losers. This was followed up by a slightly better pound where Wizzy got 97th, losing to Nessmain, PK Chris, and Moppin. Wizzy was finally able to get his first notable win in Kobe at Come to Papa, where he later finished 17th, with his loss to Yasa Snake being the only bad loss he would take at the event. Finally, we have Wizzy's crazy run at Smash and Splash, where he took out Utopian Ray, Tweak, Leet, and Scat on his road to top 8. Overall, I don't think Wizzy can make the PGR with his current results because of the mid-season string of bad losses and placings, but with CEO this weekend, he may be able to change that. Not even being seeded to make top 48, Wizzy has it rough, with his first match of round 2 pools being seeded against Cosmos. But with the best of 3 rule set of the event, Wizzy could score some more wins, where if he beats Cosmos, he plays Scat again for top 48 winners, and speculation past that point is way too crazy to think about. If Wizzy is able to put up a 17th, 13th, or even 9th at the event with a handful of good wins, I think that may give him the shot he needs to be featured on the PGR. Finally, we have Leffen. Similar to Mewtwo King, Leffen is known for his proficiency in multiple games that don't just extend to Smash. This is obvious for Ultimate, where Leffen started his year right with a great 17th at Genesis, getting a win on Wadi and only losing to Leo and Yeti. He followed this up with an okay 9th at Ultimate Nimbus, taking respectable losses without any real notable wins. This was followed by Leffen's worst performance so far, a 49th at Prime Saga, dropping to Zaki and Megafox. This performance could be blamed on Leffen's transition of characters from Pokemon Trainer to Pichu, and this makes sense considering his next performance at Pound. At Pound, Leffen peaked nicely at a major for the year, with a great 13th only losing to MK Leo Slayer JW and MK Leo himself. He was also able to pick up wins on 2 other players also on the cusp of a top 50 spot, ZD and Ling Ling. From what we've looked at, Leffen has shown the most consistency of any other player, and judging from what I've seen, he has the greatest chance of making the top 50. He is only held back by a smaller pool of results and lack of multiple top wins. He could remedy this at Albion 4 next weekend, a European major with some worldwide talent in attendance that Leffen is currently registered for. It's exciting to see some of Melee's best compete in a new game, with obvious varying levels of success. If you want to keep up with these players in Ultimate, make sure to tune into the final few events of this PGR season, and any other events they enter in the future. Thanks for watching.